Hello and welcome to this backwards compatible comics view. Today we're going to be looking at Man vs. Rock Volume 1. This book was written by Kevin Bieber with Victor DeTroy and art by Gerard Lamp. Now it's a bit of a contradiction, this book. In one side it feels very 70s B movie, and on the other side it feels quite a nice deep look at the social deep social commentary, looking at the way the world at the moment. So obviously I think that's a bit unfair, because a lot of the 70s movies were looking at things like the Red Threat and looking at different principles. We were talking about things like the piranha sorts of areas, so things where something which shouldn't really be dangerous to everybody, people were put into situations where they were fearful of something which could be sometimes quite innocuous. So obviously the idea of Man versus Rock is that the enemy of man is rocks. Now obviously that does sound a little bit ridiculous, because rocks don't have a thought, don't have a consciousness. But the way that the book is written is that one man, his name is Buckstone, which is obviously a little bit of a play there, believes the fact that humanity is under threat from rocks. So it's a bit of an interesting premise to kick things off. Do we expect that to happen? Not really. But again, for that B movie at the beginning, the silliness, as you saw those pages flicking through about the history of the world and the way that we've treated rocks, those sorts of things, it's quite a fun little, you can't help but have a little smile and a little laugh at what's going on. But for the social commentary aspect, we're looking at about the way that people view threats from all over. So obviously the big threats these days are sort of more from places like ISIS and all those sorts of principles, but the fact that the writers have taken that and changed it into something which, again, on the face of it seems quite ridiculous, but sometimes we worry about things across the world. Obviously sometimes the answer is yes, but do we really need to have armoured vehicles in the middle of nowhere because we're worried about being invaded? Seems a little bit too much for me. But again, this is where comics like this can do a great job, because they are that form of commentary, and people will read into them as they will. Now this is a mature comic. It's a 17+, so it's not going to be, obviously definitely not all ages, and it is something that some people will definitely not like. The picture you can see at the moment, that's Buckstone, Professor Buckstone, and he's the main protagonist of this story. At the beginning of the comic, we get to see the history of how man's treated rocks, and then towards the end, we get to meet Buck and a few of his pupils, and we start to learn, or students, I should say, because it's a university, and we start to learn a little bit about his feelings on what's going on in terms of the rocks. That opens up to the craziness at the end. Now it has a lovely ending. It's definitely a cliffhanger, because this is the first of 3 volumes, I believe, that are out at the moment. It's £1.49 on Comixology at the moment, and it's a 32-page count, so it's quite good. I mean, it's pretty good value for money. As I say, the art by Lamp is really nice. It's black and white, but it really does stand out quite well, and he does spend a hell of a lot of time, as you can see from that slave driver there, on the musculature, and really work. His characters do have a lot of depth in terms of their face and physical features. So again, you don't feel shortchanged by this whatsoever. Is thick for all? Again, in terms of maturity, definitely not. I think if you like that sort of black and white B movie sort of comic, I think it's great. I think if you like a little bit of depth in storytelling as well, then it's going to be a great read. I don't feel that it will be for everybody, but I really do feel that this is a great comic to read, and definitely worth your admission price completely. So what we'll do is on the website, if you go to the web link, then we'll put a link to the Comixology where you can pick this up. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching and listening, and do take care, and we'll see you again. Good night.